Hello friends, welcome back to my YouTube channel. I'm Steven. In today's video tutorial, I'll be taking you through the third project of data analysis with the SPSS. And if this is the first time you are watching my video, I recommend you to watch the previous videos that will help you to understand the third lesson. Without wasting much of your time, let's get straight to the video. I'm going to take you through selecting cases based on time. We will do filtering cases. We'll also do complex filtering in data analysis. Then we shall also be talking about replacing missing values. Alright, let's get started. In the previous video, we have talked about sorting, we have talked about selecting cases, and today we are going to take more step ahead under data management. So I'll begin by importing my dataset, as we always do. And if you want to use the dataset, you can write in my comment section below so that I can give you the dataset for you to also use them. Or you can view our first video where we introduced data entry. So if you have your survey data, you can also enter it the way we have talked about in the first video. So I'm importing my data so my data is in an Excel form. So it's an Excel sheet, so it's here, sample data, and then I click open, then I say okay. Now here my data is already loaded in SPSS. So today I have kept the data as brief as possible so that it can help us view our data very well. In case you will have a very large data set, in our second video we talked about how to reduce the sample size in case you have millions of data set observations and you want to reduce the large observation into a small sample. We have talked about how to reduce it. And before we begin further filtering, let us go to the variable view as usual, and then we'll see what we can do. Survival is numeric, and the measurement is going to be, since we are measuring it numerically, we can keep it to nominal because we are going to assign values. For 1, 0 stands for not survive. Then we say add. Now we are coding. 1 means 1 stands for those who survived. Alright, so we say okay. P class is numeric and it's nominal because it is in category 1, 2 or 3. Alright, names are just strings and keeps like that. Sex is either male or female. We're going to change it to numeric because we're going to assign values, so we're going to change this to numeric, and then we'll put left. Under values we're going to say 1 stands for male. We add it, so okay. Let's remove this. 1 stands for male, we add it. Then 2 stands for female. So male and female do not have a set of order, so we have a problem there. This is a string. Now where we have caused a very big problem, we can go back. Sex, we can assign values. That is if we like it. We can also leave it to that. We have age. We can see there are missing values here. We are going to cover how to handle that. And this is our data set. So in today's video, we shall begin by selecting cases based on time. Now, if we are selecting, maybe you have a very large data set and then you want to select out specific data based on certain year. Alright, how do you do it? How will you be able to sort this data? You go to data, you say select cases. This is now we are going to select our cases based on the year we want. So we are going to based on time or case range. We click here, then click on range. Right, we are looking for 2002. Our last case will be in 2017 maybe. Then we click continue, then we click OK. Alright, this is our output. Our output will display to you and tell you that we have carried out some kind of program. So it's not important for now, but if you look at this, we have cases selected within a given range. Alright, so we can remove it. We can remove this one by saying all cases. Alright, so say OK. We have now removed our cases. We have talked about sorting based on certain characteristics, which I'm sure you already know how to do it. Let's look at filtering cases. How do we filter cases? We can go to data. Filtering depends on what you want to filter out. Alright, we go to data, we go to select cases. Alright, we want to select people who are, our variable we're looking at is age, people who are above maybe 30 years old. Alright, so we are going for if condition. Alright, if age is greater, right, we have shift is greater than 30. So we want to select out age above 30. Alright, you click continue, then you click OK. Alright, now you can see SPSS has selected those cases that are age above 30. You can see number 2 here is above 30, 4 is above 30, 5 is above 30. Now something nice with SPSS is that you can see number 1 has been crossed, meaning this value here, this case here, case number 1 does not qualify to our condition. So our condition is specifically for the subjects, for the observations that are above 30 years old, meaning that if you are not above 30 years old, you are not selected. And now crossing it this way means that we shall keep these observations out when we are carrying out our analysis. So we have selected number 2, 4, 7. These ones are selected based on the condition we specified. Alright, you can remove this off by saying data select. You can go to all cases. Alright, then you say OK. Alright, you can also decide to select your observation based on certain sex. You want to carry out analysis on specific sex, maybe females, or you want to carry out certain analysis about people who survived only. Alright, now let's take an example of want to look at certain characteristics about female, so we have to select only female. So you come to select cases, then you go to sex. All right, sex, where is it? I'm not seeing it. All right, let's go on a condition if. All right, sex is here. By the way, we have to remove this, we don't need it anymore. We are now going to select based on criteria. If sex is equal to male, female, all right, then we say continue. Oh, all right, meaning here now SPSS is rejecting because we have not coded. We should have coded sex of male to female in numeric form, so that we'll say sex equal to something numeric, so and then it will display. All right, so we could do this for people who survived, because they already coded 0 for people who did not survive and 1 for people who survived. So we want to carry out a condition. Survived equal to 0. Continue. Alright, okay. Alright, now you can see SPSS has only selected cases for those who did not survive, which is a 0. And those ones that have survived, we are now keeping them out of our analysis. Alright, want to keep them away because our analysis is based on specifically those ones who did not survive. Alright, we could also do that for people who only survived, so we leave those ones who did not survive outside. So we can come and remove the filter out. Alright, we could also do complex filtering where we give 2 conditions. Alright, now we can go to data, we go to select cases. Alright, we go to conditions. Alright, we want to look at people who survived. Alright, we want to look at how many females. Alright, or how many people survived. Alright, among those ones who survived, and they belong to a certain P class. Alright, we have our P class here. We want to look at how many people who survived were in P class 3. Alright, so our conditions, we have 2 conditions to set here. First condition is people who survived. Alright, people who survived equals 1. This 1 stands for people who survived. And then we put our N conditions here, and P class. Alright, P class equal to 3. Right, then we say continue, then we say okay. Alright, so SPSS has selected only those who survived, but they were in P class 3. We can now see the observations. I kept this data as short as possible so that it helps us to see how things are changed when we carry out certain commands in SPSS. As easy as that. Now you can see this one here, observation number 2 is someone who survived, but because they're in P class 1, we don't select them. We deselect them actually, because we do not need them. We only need people who survived, but they were in P class 3. Now these are 2 conditions that we set for SPSS to sort out this kind of observation, and we'll use them. So in this case, if I carry out analysis, I'll be carrying out analysis on specifically people who survived and they're in P class 3. Right? We could also do this same thing, but first we have to remove our condition. Say all condition, all cases, then we remove our filter. Now we could also do something else. Alright? Let's look at All right, let's look at people who are in P class 3, but they were above 20 years old. All right, we have two conditions. We have data, you go to select, go to if condition. All right, now we want to look at people who are in P class 3. We first remove this one out. All right, how many people were in P class 3? P class 3 equals to 3. People who are in P class 3 and age is above. All right, age is above, you give a sign of that kind, age above 20. All right, we say condition. These are complex conditions. We have to assign two conditions at the same time. Right, we click OK. Now SPSS has selected out people who were in P class 3, but they were above 20 years old. So you can see observation 1 was in P class 3 and then was above 20 years old. All right, number observation number 3 was in P class 3 and above 20. All right, but you can see this one was in P class 3, number 6 P class 3, but the age was missing. All right, now we'll go ahead and talk about missing cases. All right, and then how do we replace missing cases? All right, sometimes you can have raw data from the field, from a survey, and then sometimes when you are entering data into the SPSS or any other, maybe Excel sheet, sometimes you find that there are observations that are missing values. Now, what do you do for the missing cases? Now, look at age. Age has got some missing values. Here we can see this case number 6 is a male, but the age has not been entered. Now, the best way you can fill these missing cases are very many, but the best is for you to go back to your survey answer sheets. All right, and then, because usually when you're entering these informations into the SPSS or into the Excel sheet or any other means that you're using for data entry, the report that you get from the respondents helps you to review back if you have problems with your data. So you go back to specific observation where you can look at that response from the respondent and then see how you have missed that case, and then you have to fix them back. Another way of fixing these missing values is by computing the series mean, and then the series means are usually not acceptable for you to use them when you are fixing missing values. But now the best way for you to also fix the problems of missing values is to use linear interpolation. Now you're going to use medians of nearby points to help you fix. Now if we have a missing value like here, we will compute the median of maybe, let's say, around 4 values which are around this place for us to get the value that will fit here. Now this is always good for a time series data where you have trends. Now in that case, trends always move in attachments. You can see the way they move varies with time. So the data for 2010, 2011, 2012, 2013, they are not actually very far. So meaning they are not really affected by extreme values. Like when you're fixing the missing values with series of means, they are always affected by extreme values. Of course, for a time series data will be very bad because the data at the beginning of the year 2000, maybe 2001 and 2010, they are actually very far. But if you look at 2010, 29, 28, these are data depending on the time interval, but they are not far from each other. So we compute the median of a nearby values, we'll see how to specify the span number and then how to fix these missing values. Alright, now how do we do this? First of all, let us remove our filters here. We go to data, select, remove all this, we remove them. Now we have our data back. Alright friends, just know that if you are handling, or this is part of data management, if you are cleaning data, you should also know that you have to keep on saving the data you are editing. And sometimes you filter data out, but if you want to use the original data maybe later on, you do not need to cancel the original data. So you can maybe save this data somewhere, but you need to keep the original data without being disturbed, so that next time you can go back to the original data and get the information you want. Right? Now we are going to deal with missing values, but we are going to use linear interpolation, whereby we'll use medians of nearby points to fix in the missing values. How do we do this? So how do we deal with missing values? You go to transform, and then you go to replace missing values, and then what we're actually looking at is age. The variable age has missing values. Alright, we drag age into that dialog box, and then you can see a lot of options. We have replaced with series means, we have to use the means of a nearby point. Now means of nearby points and series means, they are actually not good enough to be used for replacing missing values. They are not good enough for replacing missing values because they are actually affected by extreme values. Now it is good for us to use median of nearby point, or we can also use linear interpolation, which I advise mostly for us to use. So we click on linear interpolation right here, right? Then you click on OK, then say it displays and says change existing variables, then you say OK. Right, now everything has been changed. If you look at a new variable now, you can see age has been, the missing values has been replaced completely. Now if you look at around this missing value, case number 6, in the original variable of age, you can see this value missing has around 35, 54 and 2 around it. Now if you can see 45, if you look at the average around this place, 45 is not far from the values around this place. Alright, now you can actually see that the value fixed in this missing place is really good enough. Alright, you can also see here 17 is not very far from the values around here. So the interpolation helps us to better fix our missing cases. Right, that is how we deal with missing values. Right, you could also go to transform, replace missing values, and then maybe try to use something different. Now if you have a data set which is showing a kind of trend, it's better for you to use a linear trend at point, so that it helps you to fix your missing cases properly. But I advise that you go back to your original survey reports, so that you can actually see what the respondents actually gave you from the field, so that you will be able to fix the missing values with the exact values that you got from the field, for you to reduce biasness. Alright, we have also looked at how to do weighing cases. Weighing cases are always done to help us reduce biasness in our data set. So in the last video we talked about it, and therefore this is it for today. I want to say thank you for watching this video. Please, if you find it helpful, you can share it with your friends, you can like, and you consider subscribing to my channel. That is how you will show me a word of appreciation. See you in the next video. Goodbye. Thank you for watching my videos, and if you find my videos very helpful to you, please consider to subscribe, like, and share.